welcome. Hope everybody's having a great Monday evening. If you're joining us, I thank you. As always, I'm your host, Daniel Chico, here on the Liberty. Just trying to make sure my stream is working here. So yeah, a lot has happened. A lot has transpired. Everybody's having. All right, my stream's working. A lot has transpired. The president contracted COVID. Of course, he debated Biden just in that previous week. It seems like the news cycle has just come so fast. And for me personally, I had to take some time to take it all in because it all was kind of imploding all at once. And I had a weird feeling after the debate. I didn't have a good feeling, to be honest, after that debate. I had kind of a morbid, dark feeling, by the way. And I don't know what it was, excuse me. But I felt like there was something that was going to happen. And I didn't think the debate was very productive on either side. That's just my perspective on it. I'm sure a lot of people would share that. I think Chris Wallace was just off his cuff. I think Chris Wallace, I'm going to plain out say it, excuse the language, Chris Wallace is just a straight up asshole. Sorry about that. He's just a little weasel, and I don't think they should have had him moderate the debate. I think they should have had someone else. I just can't believe that he was allowed to do what he would do, and just they rushed through the segments, and it just all seemed so rushed. Half of it was about COVID, so on and so forth, and Trump kept on interrupting Biden, so Biden wasn't able to make himself look like an idiot, so on and so forth. It was a disaster of a debate, a shit show. And there was no real moments where it was probably only the moment I could think of is "Don't even talk to me about being smart." I thought that was a great line by the president. As far as classic lines, because you'd be in jail. I anticipate the second debate will be soon. I think the president is he's gonna come out of quarantine and he's gonna debate Biden on the 16th or the 15th, something like that. I guarantee you he'll be back to normal soon. Now, my take about him getting COVID, of course, I'm skeptical on whether or not he really had the virus. Not from a leftist standpoint. I think he was sick. I think he was feeling sick. I don't necessarily think he had coronavirus as we think, but he could have had a cold or something like that. I don't really know what is going on, and the fact that he's recovering, that's all that matters to me personally. But yeah, the news cycle has been so fast, and of course the media saying his symptoms are so severe, and he returned to the White House just a couple of hours ago. So it's like the media was making this big frenzy thinking, oh, he's gonna die and blah, 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 because they want to do that so they can get people hyped up about COVID, especially his supporters and the people who support him. They want us all to freak out over that and think that COVID is some big threat or whatever, when it really, in all reality, isn't. As we know, the president who has a crazy diet of McDonald's and Cokes, his two favorite things, doesn't really exercise that much, but he gets his exercise on the road when he's going to rallies, so on and so forth. That's how he exercises. And any man who's that age, who's hitting it as hard as he is, that's their exercise. It's good for old people to be out and about. It's not good for old people to be cooped up in a nursing home or at their own homes, like we're seeing many old people be cooped up now with the coronavirus and so on and so forth. The CDC today, we're going to go over a little bit of a headline. CDC reversed their coronavirus guidelines, saying it may spread through airborne. They're still not sure. 3 in 4 people think that Trump did not take the appropriate virus precautions. Who frickin' cares? John McAfee, which we're going to be talking about right now. John McAfee, of course, infamous McAfee virus patriot, as I would call him. I don't agree with everything he says. I think some of his stuff is a little too crazy, and he's a crazy guy. He's an outlaw, so to speak. there's many outlaws out there that have been throughout history that are not necessarily good guys. Uh, Batman, for instance, would be kind of a outlaw, a vigilante, not necessarily a. He's like kind of anti-hero. That's kind of how I see John McAfee, of course, the developer and owner of McAfee Virus that we're also familiar with. He was arrested prior for guns or something like that, and now today, he's arrested on tax evasion by SECT for touting ICOs. So basically, they claim that he was um, hiding some of his crypto earnings from the government. And they arrested him in a foreign country in Spain. Now are going to extradite him probably to the United States for tax evasion with the IRS. And no one should be arrested for this. I don't care who you are. It's ridiculous to be arrested for not paying the government the taxes. They basically just want their paycheck. But we know the IRS has been exposed for years upon end, and it's ridiculous that anyone would particularly be arrested for not paying them their fair share when they rip us off every single day in taxes, take our income. So screw them. I hope John McAfee the best. I pray that that he's able to get through this legal troubles, that somehow he can arrange a payment plan with the IRS, unfortunately, that we have to pay them back. So we'll see. John McAfee, modern outlaw of our time, I would say. I hope him the best. I hope the president the best. I think he's going to recover. Like I said, in about a week, he'll be out there on the campaign trail again, ready to debate Biden. On Wednesday, of course, in other news, on Wednesday, we have the Pence Kamala Harris. I call her Kamala Harris because she promotes communist ideals, far progressive leftist ideals. I'm just trying to get through the news cycle a little fast today so we can get to our subject. Not trying to rush it too much, but there is a lot to talk about this evening. So, of course, we're sitting on the 5th of October here in Liberty Studios, and we want to announce something big to you guys. We have actually just acquired another domain for the Fight for Truth podcast. Now, this domain, particularly this website that we had before we installed the domain is with our original, if you might recall, that we were Truth Seekers Media years ago. Gosh, it's been like 2 or 3 years now since the last Truth Seekers Media video or post, something like that, and then we merged into Intelligence Media, and now here we are in the Fight for Liberty. The old Truth Seekers page is now called the Fight for Truth. That's truth.com. Go there, check it out. We haven't really touched it at all. We're going to revamp it probably sometime this week. Post videos and articles, so on and so forth. Mostly articles because that's more of a blog site. And blogging the way I feel, so on and so forth. A little bit more conspiracy driven on the Fight for Truth podcast / fightfortruth.com. So check it out. We have some old articles on there right now. If you would like to read some of the old articles, they're still up. It's kind of cool to see our old archive up there still, and I'm going to keep that up there as long as I can. Try to move those articles to a different page, hopefully. But yeah, that's exciting. We have a new domain. And of course, our original domain in our main site is fightforliberty.com. A lot of people have been visiting on and off throughout the last week from different parts of the country. We've obtained almost 50 Twitter followers, I think we're at. So that's nice. That's good that we're at 50 Twitter followers. And we thank everybody who's been watching this, who supports us. You guys are our extended family. And if anybody ever wants to come on the show and talk and just have a discussion or a debate, you're always welcome. DM us on the Twitter feed or at our Instagram, as well as our Facebook, so on and so forth. So go to the fightforliberty.com if you really want to get a direct contact with us. We encourage you to go there, or the Facebook page is the easiest way to get a hold of us and talk to us about maybe setting up a potential show. We're going to have about 7, 8, 9, so about 4 more shows are just going to be like this, where it's just me talking, giving my thoughts on on different subjects on that. And then I would say about our 11th or 10th episode, we are going to be so about 3 or 4 episodes away from introducing you to a first guest. We're going to start having guests for our next 10 episodes. So be sure to check those episodes out when we have guests. I can't talk about various different subjects. So we wanted to do a Halloween theme for our next probably 3 or 4 weeks of the fight for liberty, because it is October. We're sitting here on October 6th, right? 5th, excuse me. Broadcasting from Liberty Studios. If you haven't noticed, it's kind of different. We have a green light that's blaring in my damn face. But we're kicking back. We're having a good time. So what I wanted to talk about today, we're going to get in more conspiratorial, creepy subjects. If you haven't heard, the Black Cube of Saturn conspiracy theory has to do with all the religions worshiping a black cube. Now, we've seen different aspects of the black cube throughout our existence, I guess you would call it, in different religions such as Islam and Jewish religions, Christianity a little bit, not as much, and esoteric religions, more associated with the occult. Now, we'll get into that in a little bit here. But as kind of a leeway, Steven Crowder on his show, he covered this with one of his employees, talking about the Black Cube of Saturn, talking about how its influence on different religions, so on and so forth. And a lot of it has to do with Babylonian religions, of course. Baal and Moloch are all connected to the Black Cube and Saturn because they're Saturnian gods. And we've also seen it in our pop culture. I know there is, particularly there is, of course, the Black Cube is on the Transformers. I can't remember which one it is. It's either the first one or the second one. Whatever one stars Megan Fox. It's the first one or the second one. Can't remember which one it is. I want to say it's the first one, where they talk about the Black Cube of Saturn and to deal with that. Which is really wild to think about that being in that movie. Really strange. I also, someone put on the rapper Travis Scott or whatever his name is. I think that's his name. Someone had the video on in the background, and I was watching it and just analyzing it, because many of these celebrities put this kind of crap out. And Travis Scott actually had Saturn the planet Saturn in his video, and I'm sure that Lady Gaga and other people have kind of implemented that kind of stuff into the video. I think Lady Gaga is one of them that has put the Black Cube of Saturn in her video. So we see this throughout a different aspects of our culture and pop culture, different religions. There's also the ancient myth that. Who was it? Horus? No, it wasn't Horus. Gosh, now I'm going to sound like an idiot, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But it has to do with that Saturn, the Egyptian god. Saturn, also known as Satan or Set in Egyptian. And of course, Set, there is a temple of Set. We'll get into the occult and the satanic pedophile elites just a little bit, but this all has to implement together. And when I titled the video, I titled it in particular for a group of people that I see every day worshiping this kind of stuff, not knowingly worshiping it with their conscious directly, but subconsciously worshiping this kind of Saturnian brainwashing. Now, many people associate that Satanism, traditional Satanism, is always directly linked with evil. That's not necessarily true, because there's many different forms of Satanism. Now, I believe that the Temple of Set and now this new satanic temple that I don't really know much about is in relation to this Saturnian Black Cube worship. Traditionally, the Church of Satan and other sects of Satanism Luciferianism and stuff like that is not necessarily is still um, anti-God, anti-Christian, atheistic hedonism. It really is associated with hedonism and just being a shitty person, having an excuse to be a shitty person. So excuse my language, but it really is. You have this excuse to say, "Oh, I can do whatever I want," blah 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 blah. Um, Now, that's not to say that all people are genuinely like that, that follow these things. A lot of people are just brainwashed thinking that this is cool or this is edgy, so on and so forth. Um, which I'm particularly talking about them. The people that think that living like a heathen is cool. The people thinking that going out and getting wasted every single freaking day out of your mind, throwing up the next day and not remembering where you were is cool. Blackout drunks, people who think that it's cool to have a Baphomet on their shirts or whatever, so on and so forth, when they don't even know the origins of that stuff is not necessarily even edgy in the first place. The Baphomet was actually associated with the Knights Templar, which was associated with the image. I can't remember who necessarily was who did the image. I'll have to look that up in a little bit here, but that necessarily was just a bad kind of bad luck assumed with that image, and they think that all these things are satanic, but they're not really satanic. They're taken from different religions. All modern Satanism is just heathenism and brainwashed bullcrap, because most of their occultic symbols came from Christianity and religion. And then they turned it around because that's what the devil likes to do. He likes to turn things around and reverse them, such as the pentagram. The pentagram got reversed. It was originally a beautiful Christian symbol in its essence, the upright pentagram, and also associated with paganism as well. I'm not denying that. That's why I don't fully support any pentagram whatsoever. But the pentagram was originally a Christian symbol, kind of like with Celtic, Irish, traditional Catholicism, Christianity, and even prior date to that. And what the Satanists did is they turned it around against Christians and reversed it. So it's sad that people have been that brainwashed thinking that this edginess is somehow different from Christianity, when they really ripped off Christianity and just turned it into a filthy, kind of dirty religion that they think is cool. Now, the Temple of Set particularly is associated with Michael Kino, who is a pedophile, not a convicted pedophile, but he got off scot-free. If you look up Michael Kino in the Temple of Set, you'll find tons of things that has to do with what was the fellow out of L.A. Gosh, I'm trying, not Ted Camp. Damn, what the hell is his name? I'll have to get back to you on that. But he exposed, this particular FBI agent out of California exposed the whole damn thing, the whole enchilada about the Temple of Set and things like that about Michael Kino. The Temple of Set, Michael Kino is a previous member of the Church of Satan, which is Anton LaVey. Now, LaVey made his living off of lies. He lied to the public about his views, so on and so forth, his upbringing, and just really just made I guess you would call a carnival, made Satanism a carnival or a dress up kind of let's play kind of weird, sick frickin' thing, not necessarily out to cause evil, but more necessarily out to offend Christians because they think it's edgy or cool, which is now the modern idealistic person who has a pentagram, so on and so forth. They think it's cool or they think it's edgy to go out there and do these things. But a lot of it is taken from either Christianity, ancient Christianity, excuse me, Judaism, or Islam, and also Egyptian. That's what the new modern edgy Satanist doesn't know, is that he's so anti-religious, but yet he's literally wearing religious symbol symbolism, and that's what these kids, these heavy metal kids or whatever, don't know. Um, and I'm a huge fan of metal. I love metal. I live and die and breathe that musical genre. But these people don't know that their whole culture and things that they like and they listen to is just edgy. When you encourage aborting babies, so on and so forth, that's more associated with the occult. That's more associated with the evil occult, the evil side of the occult, where back in the day they used to sacrifice babies and children. And people will say, they'll say, well, that's not true. Satanists believe in protecting children. But there is so much evidence, not particularly with a certain sect of Satanism, like Church of Satan or whatever. Now, the Satanic Temple, the new Satanic Temple, I can tell you, has had abuse allegations against women, particularly. Um, and these people claim to be pro-feminist, pro-women, but yet we're going to follow a false religion. We're going to follow a religion of filth, of disgusting filth that encourages um, being mean to women and so on and so forth. But yet we're going to call ourselves feminism or feminist. It just doesn't make sense. The whole movement of this heathenistic movement that we know as modern uh, Satanism is that it's heathenism, and it's a contradiction in itself. It does nothing productive. It's unproductive. You don't know what you're messing with, so on and so forth. Now, I know people who follow this kind of stuff, um, and I just look at them and I think, really? You think that you're the shit, but you don't really know the origins of those things. Now, if you were doing this kind of stuff and you knew the origins and you knew where all this stuff came from, okay, maybe I might have just a little bit more respect for you. But if you're just going to wear these symbols to think it's cool or piss off great granny who is religious to the core in Christianity and is ready to go to heaven, and you just want to wear it just to piss her off or just to piss your parents off, it's not fun, folks. This is what I'm talking about, the brainwashing, the Saturnian brainwashing that has come through our culture, and particularly when we had the Blackout Tuesday. Now, you all remember Blackout Tuesday for George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. What did you post on your Instagram? You posted a black cube. You posted a Saturnian symbol to conjure some kind of occultic. And when I use the word occultic, we can get into that too, because in essence, the real definition of cult just means hidden. It means secretive. Now, anything could be considered a cult. You can say, well, I'm part of business, let's say business, for instance. Let's say you sign a contract, non-disclosure agreement in your business, or you sign a contract not to talk about what goes on within your company to the public. That can be considered occultic. So anything hidden is occultic. So that can cover wide influencing our lives daily, especially with these young people, particularly on the left, that think it's cool. I mean, and members of groups like Antifa and BLM think that this is cool, that it's cool to be anti-Christian, anti-religion, when religion is the whole reason why you have the freedom that you have, and religion is the whole reason why you particularly have these symbols on you that you say are satanic symbols, but in essence they're just rip-offs of the religion that you're protesting against. So it's a whole Saturnian brainwash. It's a whole I would call it magic spell that has been pulled over our eyes. Now we're getting really conspiratorial here, but I mean, you don't have to call it a conspiracy in order to know where the origins of these things have came from, in particularly. So it's almost 8 o'clock at night here, and I'm still hearing a road grader or whatever the hell it is. Um, so there's that too. You have to take in these factors of that people on the leftist ideology, they want these abortions. They want things. They don't know the truth about these things. Now, I'm getting really conspiratorial and showing kind of what I know about it. Is I know that Planned Parenthood sold baby parts. I know that. And what is the conspiracy theory? The conspiracy theory is that adrenochrome is actually a real thing now. Is it? Is it no longer a conspiracy theory? Where do we draw the line where it's no longer a conspiracy theory and now it has merged into our reality? And particularly adrenochrome, now they're saying, is a chemical supplement that people actually use. So the question is now, adrenochrome thing, and is Planned Parenthood kind of connected? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Are they really harvesting baby parts so these global elitists, we talked about the Neuralink thing, we talked about the um, merging between AI and kind of the transhuman agenda. And we talked about how obsessed these people are with really go as far as taking baby's body parts or, whatever, baby's blood and drinking it or whatever. I mean, we have seen that there is some kind of thing that is called vampirism. That does exist. Some people have claimed to be vampires that just only living off of blood and whatever. So, and there's also psychological vampires, which is a term that Anton LaVey used in the Satanic Bible. But it is true, though. There are psychic vampires, and I do believe that the Church of Satan and Satanism in general is part of that psychic vampirism that has been thrown into our society today. And now people are more, I mean, it's kind of weird how the people on the left always particularly are more on the left-hand path. They're more of that more witches or the warlocks. And they still acknowledge that there's a higher power. They acknowledge that there is a God. And they won't say that that God is the devil, nor do they say the God is Jesus, but they at least acknowledge that there is a deity of some sort in paganism and Wiccanism. But when it comes to like Satanism or left-hand path things in particular, gosh, these people are so damn annoying. They don't acknowledge God. They hate God. They hate the concept of God. They struggle with the concept of God because they can't grip that this universe that we are living in, this very essence of our being, is spiritual. They can't grip the spirituality. It's too hard for their little brains or their underdeveloped brains. And I'm sorry, some of these people are really intelligent. I won't say they aren't. They are very intelligent. But the fact that they don't acknowledge that there is a God and they're anti any kind of thing to do with God or a deity in general just shows how small-minded they are. And some of the so-called greatest minds of our time, such as Stephen Hawking and, gosh dang, this is ridiculous, folks. I tell you what, I can't believe these people are making this much noise at 8 o'clock at night. I'm trying to do the damn show, and they won't frickin' stop. So I apologize for the noise. I apologize if you're a podcast listener. There's a road grader out here, and he won't shut the hell up. So hopefully he'll shut up soon, and we can keep doing the show that we're doing. But there's that particular evil, and I'm not here to say, oh, this is bad or that is bad, or tell you that everything is freaking satanic or anything. I'm not one of those crazy conspiracy theorists or even crazy evangelicals like people. I don't even like the term evangelical because I believe that's more associated with the wolf and sheep's clothing pastors, which we are seeing plastered all over the TV, who are just as evil and satanic, such as Joel Osteen. And I will call them out by name. I have no problem. Because they are the name it, claim it frickin' people who are brainwashing Christianity. Christianity has been infiltrated at the highest levels with people like Joel Osteen and these TV preachers. Now, keep in mind, we look at the reformers and stuff like that, Reformation theology, which is really at the core of Christianity, and Catholicism, which is like I was talking about St. Augustine last time, which is the heart of and Thomas Aquinas, some of those early saints, are really at the heart of Catholicism and now what we call Reformed Christianity. Um, but I'm not here to say that everything's satanic, because it's not. If you enjoy entertainment, if you enjoy horror movies or uh, heavy metal, it's not satanic. But the people within it are satanic. Sometimes, not all of them. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they are. It's on a each and every basis. Sometimes they do like the Anton LaVey thing, where they will will where they promote Satanism to sell records, which is just absolutely absurd. It's stupid. I understand the appeal because it gives like the scary, creepy appeal, but again, they're kind of brainwashed for doing that too. We're all brainwashed in a way. So I'm not here to be a preacher and say you're going to hell if you do this or that. Worship who you want. But I'm saying that realize where these symbols come from are not necessarily what you think they are. It's not necessarily anti-God. You just think it's anti-God. The philosophy of it is anti-God, but not necessarily the symbols and the symbolism within these sects of Satanism. They're just rip-offs of other religions. But the Saturnian worship is definitely in some kind of darkness with Set and the Egyptian gods, and Baal, Babylonian gods, and Moloch, which we've seen in the Bohemian Grove documentary. I believe it said Dark Secrets Inside the Grove, which is by Alex Jones. I encourage everybody to check it out. Even if you think Alex Jones is controlled opposition, whatever, check it out. If you're a conspiracy theorist, even if you're not a conspiracy theorist, at least acknowledge that there's some kind of darkness that is going on. Whether or not you think it's playful darkness or not, there's some kind of darkness going on within, these worshiping these false idols or these false gods. So there is some kind of darkness. Now, it's up to you to determine what that is and where we draw the lines, such as what I was talking about with the adrenochrome thing in Planned Parenthood. Are they really doing that? Are they not doing it? So on and so forth. But it's crazy to see so many people brainwashed thinking that these things are edgy or that these things are good. Blackout Tuesday, so on and so forth, is a great thing. I just don't understand. And I've been debating people about Planned Parenthood and the Planned Parenthood agenda. And, a lot of fiction is based off of some kind of truth. A lot of these folklores that you might hear about, particularly with leprechauns or whatever, unicorns and stuff, they're based off of some kind of truth or some kind of eyewitness statement that may be based off of a lie initially, but someone said, "Oh, I saw a leprechaun," or whatever, and then that became a big thing. I saw a unicorn, and it became a big thing, and that's what actually happened with the origins of these things. So a lot of this evil stuff has been going on for years. It's nothing new. It's just now we're acknowledging it on a mass level, which is crazy to think about. And also, we have a guest tonight that I would like to bring on. Let me go get him. Give me 1 second. We actually have the one, the only DNC chairman, John Podesta, is with us tonight. John, are there any truths to these claims that there is a operation of satanic pedophile elites operating Pizzagate? Is there any truth to it? I'm not trying to accuse anybody, but is there any truth? Well, I guess John Podesta doesn't have anything for us, unfortunately, right now. As always, these guys always deny that they're involved into any crimes, but I guess we'll have to find out whether or not he's involved later, if he'll even feel inclined to answer that statement. But we're having fun tonight, folks. We're having fun tonight. We're doing our first Halloween special, talking about the Black Cube, Saturanian brainwashing. That has, and that's another thing. They said that these pedophile rings weren't real, that they were a conspiracy, and now all of a sudden people come up saying, "Save our children, stop child sex trafficking." When just years ago, when we were doing Truth Seekers Media, we were saying this stuff was real. We were saying this stuff you have to look into. And I remember hearing about Epstein Island years ago, even before we did Truth Seekers Media back in like 2014 or whatever. And no one believed it. And now the left is picking it up, saying, "Save our children," so on and so forth. When they were the ones that were denying it for so long. And now they want to act like they're so righteous by saying "save our children" and that they're against